my name is Renee, and I'm a senior mentor at Another Degree. NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers, identified that the top 3 soft skills employers are looking for are communication, critical thinking, and teamwork. In a recent blog post I wrote on soft skills, I recommend some ways you can develop these skills, such as internships, extracurricular activities, and taking focused classes. However, I wanted to talk about another way you can develop your soft skills that you can get started on right now. After reflecting on my work and life experiences, I realized that there were 3 qualities shared by people whose soft skills that I admire. These qualities are curiosity, kindness, and humility. I believe that by being curious, being kind, and being humble, you will nurture a set of qualities that underlie most soft skills and start to develop your competency as a colleague and an employee. Now, these qualities might seem a little abstract. You may be wondering, how would nurturing qualities such as kindness, curiosity, and humility help translate to practical soft skills I need for my career? And that's a good question. We're going to go over what soft skills are, the 3 qualities, and examples of how those qualities practically apply to the top soft skills that employers are looking for. So let's get started. First off, what are soft skills? Soft skills are defined as competencies associated with customer handling, communication, problem solving, teamworking, and other related activities. These can include many different skills, such as empathy, critical thinking, leadership, and more. Soft skills often come into play when we are working with other people, which is why you may have also heard them referred to as people skills. However, soft skills will benefit you whether you're working on a solo project or as a team. It is important to note that the value of soft skills does not lie just in the ability to perform the skill. It specifically lies in your ability to apply the skill in a variety of contexts and with a variety of people. When Nate says that employers value teamwork, it can sound like a bit of a nebulous thing. However, we can start to more clearly understand the value of soft skills when we consider them as something to be applied to our interactions. When we hear teamwork, we can think personally about what kind of teammate we want to be. In the same way, when we think of communication, we can think about what kind of communicator we want to be. Thinking of it this way helps us to better understand how nurturing curiosity, kindness, and humility would help us to develop our soft skills. Let's quickly break down each of the 3 qualities before we look at the practical application. Let's start with curiosity. Curiosity is what leads us to ask questions and seek answers. When we are curious, we have a desire to investigate and learn. We ask the questions needed to grow, solve problems, and face new challenges. Next is kindness. Kindness is what leads us to be helpful and show sensitivity to others' emotions. When we are kind, we put others at emotional ease, creating the type of environment that allows both ourselves and others to perform at our full potential. Last is humility. Humility is what leads us to equally respect and value those around us. When we are humble, we do not believe we are superior to anyone. We are happy to receive input and are willing to learn from those around us. While each of these qualities is beneficial on its own, by nurturing all 3 together, you gain a strong foundation upon which to gain your soft skills. So now let's get into how this would look practically by applying them to the top soft skills employers are looking for. NACE has full definitions of each of the top skills and more on their website, along with sample behaviors that someone who has mastered the skill might display. The exercise we are about to do, we're going to be using an abbreviated definition. Let's start with communication, or the ability to clearly and effectively exchange information and ideas. How does curiosity apply to communication? Clear and effective communication often starts with a desire to learn how to best convey information to others. This desire leads to questions such as, what details can I include in this meeting to help my colleagues understand the next step of the project? What information do they need to complete their work? How is my tone coming across? Such questions can open the door for constructive conversations about how to better understand each other. How does kindness apply to communication? Think back to a moment where you had to hear criticism from someone. If it is a positive memory overall, it is likely that the person communicating with you was kind, even though the information was unpleasant. Their kindness helped you to receive the information in a way where you could hear it and act upon it without feeling tense or hurt. If it is a negative memory, the information was likely relayed to you in a harsh or insensitive way. When we are kind, we assign a high status to the well-being and emotional state of the person we are communicating with, and this greatly contributes to positive communication between you and your colleagues. How does humility apply to communication? When we approach communication with humility, we are willing to hear ideas and feedback from all of our colleagues. We do not show preferential treatment for a select few people, but take the time to talk and listen to each team member. So looking at all 3 together, a curious, kind, and humble communicator is someone who actively seeks out how to communicate more effectively, considers the emotional impact of their communications, and values input from everyone they work with. Next, let's take a look at how the 3 qualities support teamwork, or building and maintaining collaborative relationships to work effectively toward common goals. How does curiosity apply to teamwork? When we apply curiosity to teamwork, it often shows up as a desire to work better together. We ask questions such as, how can we equally share the responsibility of this project? Is everyone being heard and valued on the team? What systems and protocols do we need to put into place in order to collaborate effectively? Curiosity analyzes the team and seeks how to optimize the dynamics and norms of the group. How does kindness apply to teamwork? Kindness focuses on creating a team culture where each member feels emotionally supported. When we are kind, we value building a positive emotional climate as highly as we value completing project goals. We create an environment where people enjoy working together, and where success feels like a win for the team. How does humility apply to teamwork? When we approach teamwork with humility, we do not think we're above any of the work, and we hold ourselves accountable to each member of the team. We put in the effort and respect that is due to the team and the project goals. Looking at all of these three together, a curious, kind, and humble teammate actively seeks out how to work together more effectively, takes shared responsibility for the culture and emotional climate of the team, and respects the team members and goals. Lastly, let's look at how the three qualities support critical thinking, or the ability to identify and respond to needs based upon an understanding of situational context and logical analysis of relevant information. How does curiosity apply to critical thinking? Critical thinking often starts when we are curious about how to reach a desired goal or outcome. This desire often leads to questions such as, why was that outcome different than anticipated? What are some unconventional ways to approach this issue? Which course of action should we take to achieve our goal? How might preconceived notions affect how we interpret our data? Curiosity is the fuel that drives us to think more deeply about how to achieve our objectives. How does kindness apply to critical thinking? Kindness is important to critical thinking in two ways. First, we can be kind to those working with us. This creates an open climate of trust where people feel comfortable introducing new and innovative solutions to problems. Ideas flourish when people know they will not be judged or criticized for their contributions. Second, we can be kind to ourselves. When we remind ourselves that it is okay to throw out ideas even when they are unconventional, we create a safe emotional space for ourselves where we feel free to explore solutions from every angle. How does humility apply to critical thinking? When we apply humility to critical thinking, we genuinely explore each idea as a potential solution. We do not dismiss others' contributions or place higher value on our own ideas. We listen, learn, and build solutions with others. Looking at all three together, a curious, kind, and humble critical thinker analyzes problems in search of a solution, kindly encourages ideas from themselves and others, and does not seek to glorify their own ideas. Now that we've gone over how curiosity, kindness, and humility can be applied to the top soft skills employers are looking for, we can see how valuable it is to nurture these qualities in ourselves. Keep in mind, nurturing these qualities is not an alternative to getting involved with internships or other extracurriculars. Internships and extracurriculars are important because they allow you to practice your soft skills in a variety of contexts, and also indicate to employers that you have this experience. Ideally, you would nurture your curiosity, kindness, and humility in addition to internships and leadership roles. Remember, while each one is useful on its own, the three of them working together is what creates the strongest foundation. For example, if you were curious without humility, you could easily begin to prioritize your questions over others. If you were humble without self-kindness, you might begin to consider your ideas less valuable than others. And if you were kind without curiosity, you might never speak up or have your opinions heard. I would love to hear in the comments if you think there are more qualities that underlie soft skills. I have actually heard curiosity, kindness, and humility described as soft skills themselves, rather than qualities. Either way, they do underline almost every soft skill. Thanks for the chat, and I will see you next time.